Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're back with the Empire, as you can see, going to be facing off against the High Elves here, so let's go ahead and get straight to it as the action is about to kick off with this aggressive vanguard of Reaver Archers here. For my forces, I'm going to be led by an Archlector, leading, of course, the Royal Altar of Ripfights. We've got the Hammer of Witches, main line of State Troops, Spearmen and Swordsmen, a Hellblaster Volley Gun there that you saw in the opening, and we've got Jade Wizard, 3 groups of Reichsguard, and that's pretty much it for my opponent. He's got 5 Illyrian Reaver Archers and a Lithanar who's pretty decent at sniping at artillery. Looks like he just used the Moonbow potentially there to go after the Royal Altar of Ripfights. But yeah, in terms of the rest of my opponent's army, way back here, he's got some Spearmen, some White Lions, a couple units of Archers, a High Elf Noble on foot as well to support, 1 unit of Dragon Princes, and a High Mage there with Apotheosis and Arcane Unforging, as well as both of the magic items. So without, excuse me, without further ado, let's get the battle underway. You can see Elithnar going to be moving forward, at least his decoy here, to kind of interrupt. And, you know, this is actually probably the first time that I've seen anyone fall for the decoy, and just so happens that it was me. But, yeah, I totally didn't see that Elithnar was actually back here shooting. So I'm actually going to commit to the decoy before I'm like, hang on a minute. Meanwhile, over on the low ground, I know I haven't caught it for you guys, as you guys are big fans of the Hellblaster Volley Gun here, but it was able to get some solid kills. Looks like still popping off some shots there against those fleeing Reavers. Able to pick off 1 or 2 more here at a distance. But yeah, so far so good. 21 kills against cavalry's not too bad, especially a pretty, not super expensive, but relatively expensive unit of light cavalry. We're going to use the Demogryph Knights here to screen out and try and protect the Hammer of Witches. We are going to terrify away those Illyrian Reavers, and we are also bringing up some Reichsguard to support as well. Just trying to protect this thing as long as possible here. And yeah, you can see I'm just kind of moving my forces here, just kind of repositioning, trying to get a feel for what my opponent's going to do here. Meanwhile, these Reavers are going to get caught up by the Reichsguard and the Altar of Ripfights and everything, and just push straight off the side of the map here, so pretty unfortunate for my opponent. But yeah, it's the power of the Royal Altar of Ripfights. Their terror is very, very strong, especially when they're buffed up by the Archlector, who of course dropped that Hammer of Sigmar there, which is just barely about to wear off now. Yeah, Hellblaster still wreaking havoc among the Reavers here as they try and skirmish with the Empire army. And yeah, well, looks like, is that a little Dust Devil there? I thought maybe the blaster was hitting the ground, but yeah, the cannon's going to get a few shots from up on the hill here, get a few kills against the Reavers. So far it hasn't been able to get much work done, but Lithanar actually, with his very, very long range, can shoot at the Hammer of Witches, and you can see they're down to only 1 artillery piece, both of them having been destroyed by High Elf Bowfire only, so that's pretty impressive, all things considered. And Lithanar's going to continue to fire away here at the Hammer of Witches until it's offline, at which point I'm going to go ahead and advance, at least somewhat. Royal Altar of Ripfights have taken a little bit of damage here. I did put a regrowth into them, but yeah, we're going to be continuing to try and dump all of our healing into them, obviously. But Hammer of Witches down to its 1 gun crew, having some line of sight blockage issues, going to derp on forward a little bit there, but the Hellblaster meanwhile is going to kind of move up and around and see if we can get a good angle on this kind of opening right here, because potentially the engagement is going to be taking place right here. At least that's what the High Elf is probably trying to force. Since I have such a wider army than him, I have way more units, it would make sense that he would try and force the engagement around this little kind of pass area here, so that I can't bring all of my units to bear, you know, in a full surround. But we'll see. You can see the Hammer of Witches crew here just kind of chilling, not too happy about their situation, but hey, I mean, at least they're still alive, so we're going to just leave them back so that they don't contribute to army losses any more than they have to. But you can see the crews for the volley gun here moving up. Unfortunately, the volley gun does have pretty limited range. If it had longer range, it would definitely be one of the best artillery pieces in the game, as it does a devastating amount of damage. But yeah, that 290 range is a bit of a drawback there. You can see Elithnar actually starting to open up shots on the volley gun here, trying to take that out. So we'll see. We'll go ahead and fast forward through this mid-game a little bit, as there is some positioning here as I move my Empire forces to kind of cover this pass here. We're going to go ahead and split these forces off just to kind of cover this flank as well. We've got the Reichsguard here. And yeah, going to go ahead and move up with some of these state troops to start to occupy the center area here. You can see the volley gun opening up some shots. Unfortunately, the volley gun seems to still have the issue where it targets the flank of a unit, which is definitely unfortunate. But it should still be able to get some shots into this area here. Yep, you can see pretty effective fire there on the High Elf archers, who obviously not the heaviest armored target, but still, any target we can get a hold of is going to be valuable, certainly, against the High Elves. Arcane Unforging going down on Archlector, putting some extra recharge time on his buffs. Very good play there using the High Mage. It is going to do a decent amount of damage to him as well, so not bad there. You can see the High Elf kind of forming up, circling the wagon, so to speak. Unfortunately, he still doesn't have enough melee infantry, and the Reichsguard are going to come charging through this gap right here and land home on the archers, which is most unfortunate. The White Lines try and come secure, but unfortunately a lot of damage has been done already to both units of archers, which is pretty unfortunate. We've got another reserve Reichsguard just kind of chilling over on the side. I see that the Reavers are going to come after the volley gun here, so it's going to start to open up shots in return, and we're moving the state troops to kind of help protect there. And yeah, man, just peppering fire from the volley guns there, just macking these Illyrian Reavers. But anyway, this unit of spearmen is getting surrounded by state troops, unfortunately, for them. That being said, Olithnar's been doing a great job trying to snipe out the Archlector, and he has taken a lot of damage here. He's going to go ahead and break the bracing bonus of these spearmen, so they take the full effect of that charge there. And we're going to go ahead and sandwich a rear charge with the Reichsguard here, so the hammer is the Reichsguard, and the anvil is the Reichsguard, as they go ahead and try and finish off this spearman. Again, we're just trying to kind of alpha strike my opponent's infantry so that we can get at some of the juicier targets in the backline here, but another Arcane Unforging going down. Thankfully, I did dump an Overcast Regrowth into the Archlector there to give him some healing, but definitely glad I brought that Lore of Life there, and the Dragon Prince is going to finally come around, get involved in the battle, just land a brutal rear charge here on some of these state troops, and then they're going to go ahead and pull through. Honestly, this is a little bit of a mistake because I have such a superior cav force up here. I mean, granted, he does have some support with like the White Lions and so on, but I'm going to go ahead and pull away, not wanting to take those Dragon Princes head on with the White Lions there as well. So we're going to go ahead and hit these archers and try and pull the Dragon Princes away from the infantry support here. We do more or less succeed in doing so. It actually looks like the White Lions are doing a good job keeping up, but there they reverse course to deal with this Spearman who's compromised the backline, and that is going to leave the Dragon Princes alone to deal with all these Reichsguard, Demigryph Knights, and the Archlector and everything. So yeah, pretty rough stuff for the Dragon Princes. Unfortunately, with them going down, that's going to start to tip the balance of power. You can see up till now things had been pretty close, but Hellblaster Volley Gun still online, managed to rack up 50 kills, mostly against enemy cavalry, but down to only one gun, as Olithnar and others have been continuously poking at them. Not to mention the Jade Wizard taking some fire here as well from Olithnar and some of the archers up on the high ground there, so trying to push through to finish off what remains of the High Elf infantry so we can go ahead and finish off their ranged units as well. So another rear charge coming through here. This is the true hammer and anvil with the spearmen with shields and the Reichsguard and everything. So yeah, with those White Lions more or less out of the picture, we're going to go ahead and just continue to cycle around. These Reichsguard still having not been activated this entire time, just chilling here, totally healthy. Going to go ahead and move forward now. So at this point I'm like, you know what, I've pretty much got my value. Oh, it looks like there are actually two of these online. I didn't catch that before, but pretty much got my value out of them, so went ahead and just moved my state troops over to finish off the rest of the infantry there. So we'll watch the last stand of the volley gun here as they fire into the charging Reavers. Come on, guys, one more volley, and you probably shouldn't stand directly in front of the muzzles. Something tells me that that guy is incredibly unsafe right now, but oh, point blank right into the Reaver that charges in there. Holy crap. Man, that was an epic shot right there, huh? But anyway, the Reavers are going to finish that thing off. That being said, the middle engagement here is just so one-sided in our favor. We're just isolating the heroes now at this point, so yeah, my opponent does admit defeat there, and very well played to him. You know, it's a very fun battle. Definitely some back and forth there with him doing a decent job at finishing off my artillery. Unfortunately, he just didn't quite have enough in the tank to deal with all of the heavy cavalry here, and yeah, at the end of the day, I think maybe a little bit too heavy of an investment on the Reaver archers, cutting one of them down, even just to bring some more spearmen in the front line, I think would have been very beneficial, even 1 to 2. With a Lithanar and 3, I feel like that's enough, more or less, to try and snipe out these artillery pieces. Even without the Reavers, he was able, just with the Lithanar, to snipe out the artillery quite effectively, so I don't necessarily think that you need to go this heavy with the Reaver archers, so maybe just a little bit of a stronger front line with some more spearmen to help hold the line there, and to help chase down, cavalry. The High Elf Noble, if you want to put him up on a horse, he can run with the Dragon Princes and support them as kind of an anti-large AP presence among them, which is a very powerful tool, or he can run with them and then try and snipe out the Archlector, who's going to be supporting the Demigryph Knights that you will inevitably be facing there. So yeah, if we go ahead and switch these guys over to the High Elves. So I actually really like my opponent's use of Lithanar there. So he did have the decoy. I'm not sure what other abilities he had in total, but I usually cut Dark in the Skies just because the Lithanar is oftentimes kind of running around by himself. The Slippery is decent to have, but I'll cut that as well just for the sake of things. Moonbow I think he had, and I'm not sure about these other two, but we'll go ahead and leave them off for now just to keep Lithanar as cheap as possible. I really think the Moonbow is pretty good at sniping out artillery. The Mislead can potentially be useful, but these other ones, they're pretty expensive for what you get out of them. I mean, the Shadow Crown can potentially be good, but let's see here. And then, yeah, some Spearmen for the front line. I think you need to go a little bit wider there. A couple of archers, not a bad idea. Let's see here. And then the Reavers. Let's see. Maybe like 3 Reaver archers. And, of course, the High Mage as well. And she's going to go up on a horse. And spell loadout's pretty solid. Tempest is definitely a good pick here as well. But assuming that your opponent realizes that you have, or at least can bring Tempest, and doesn't bring any flying units, you don't necessarily have to bring it. So it's a bit of a metagame, kind of mind game there. But just the Arcane Unforging itself with the Apotheosis, very, very good stuff. And then from here, we've got quite a few points left. We could potentially do some different things. 1 unit of Dragon Princes, definitely a good idea, maybe even a second one. And then maybe we grab a couple Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, either for counter battery fire or to shoot at enemy cavalry primarily. Obviously this force is a little bit lighter in the front line. We don't have any White Lions, but yeah, you're more so going to be focused on the cavalry, I think, and protecting these bolt throwers, especially if you juice them up with a few chevrons. They can do some really nice work against Empire cavalry, and so either the Empire is going to be shooting their artillery at your bolt throwers, or they're going to be, shooting something else. But regardless, with the Lithanar and your other units sniping out your opponent's artillery, you shouldn't have to worry too much about counter battery fire, and just kind of sit back and allow these guys to do the work of shooting at your opponent's cavalry. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, though. It's definitely a dynamic matchup that can go a number of different ways, and I'd probably actually bring this build just for preference's sake under the Naggarith color scheme, just because I think the Dragon Princes in the black and gold and white look amazing. But anyway, that's besides the point. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.